we go.
All right. And good morning. I see Megan and Trish and the Smedge, and Smedge says, "Hey, Steve and Steve," so I assume that proper Steve and other Steve both made some comments before the commentary started to thread live. And GCM, good morning, my brother. Hey, GCM has some recent experience with part of the topic we're going to cover this morning. We'll get into that in just a minute. So today we're going to talk about the kids. We're going to talk about why does it seem to be so hard to just love your kids? Now, don't get me wrong. It can be hard to love your kids. It's hard work. Because children, until they're about 6, are basically loud little suicide machines. And you just have to spend all your time trying to prevent them from eating the cat or stabbing the electrical outlet or, I don't know, chewing on the toaster.
Loud little selfish suicide machines.
Yes. And
with no life experience.
None.
That they sincerely believe that their Lego fort getting smashed is the worst thing that could possibly happen.
Yes. They don't have that
But honey, it's Legos. You can just put it back together.
Right. I didn't even think about. I wish I'd have pulled up a series of memes on this. You've seen the "I'm the worst parent ever" memes.
Yeah, of course.
It's just videos and pictures of children pitching absolutely explosive temper tantrums, and then an explanation of why the child's upset. And it'll be things like, "I wouldn't let him replace his Oreo filling with macaroni and cheese. Yeah, little drunk employed. I believe you meant little drunk unemployed people, Dave. But your point is well taken. Now, before we dig into the substance of the primary story today, though, I want to take a moment to appreciate this incident from Best Buy. Almost completely unrelated, and I say almost completely unrelated because clearly these hooligans are the product of being unloved. But here we go. There was an event. Hey, I don't want your music commentary. I want to big screen this so everybody can see it. Okay, so no, everybody's tracking that we've been experiencing a rise in crime, and most especially in the blue cancers, the larger cities. We've been experiencing more and more crime explicitly and obviously because there's been a lot of blue push, Democrats pushing to, they call it bail reform, doing things like saying anything under $900 worth of shoplifting and we're just not going to prosecute, stuff like that. Now, in all fairness, in this situation, anything under $900, they're grabbing smartphones. Buddy, you're gambling there because some of them tip that scale just one. But what we're seeing here, this rise in crime, and again, this is only very loosely related, but some of the commentary kind of speaks to the same attitudes that are a problem in the abortion argument. But this happened at a Best Buy. And I'm not running their audio. There's no audio from the security camera apparently. You got three guys come in. Okay, he got two phones. He broke the 900 right there. And I mean, they just come in to steal these phones. But here, this is where I wish the clip went a little longer. Because we see the three guys come in and snatch the phones. They run out. But as they're running out, you see, boom. I mean, especially watch this guy come in from the right over here. Like, you can see him come running around the corner right here. Boom. Like, these two over here, they saw, okay, this is what's happening. I want to know how often they practice this. I mean, this seems rehearsed. It seems like it kind of feels like, once a week or something, or maybe even just once a month. It's like, okay, guys, we're going to have loss prevention theft drills, or loss prevention drills. And the loss prevention drills are, this is your defensive line. So they come in with the effective block, and I got to say, that's pretty solid. Looks like you got 3 basic employees, 2 maybe manager, and I believe the tie and white shirt indicates Geek Squad. So, boom, there they are. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, but
Dan points out they have a secondary. They do indeed. There's a line behind them. And that's the one that actually happened this weekend. Here's another one. Apparently, this is just a thing at Best Buy. This woman, I mean, she's just brutalizing this guy, and I love it. Boom, boom, boom. So you love to see it. Oh, there's the audio again. But some of the commentary here, like this idiot. I don't know who needs to hear this, but if you work at Best Buy or another retailer, you have no obligation to physically stop anyone from stealing. You're right. Joey Reck, with your communist hammer and sickle and your name title. You're right. You don't have an obligation to do the right thing. You have a moral duty. You don't understand this because you're a communist. And at the very basic core of you is the primary philosophical belief that violence is morally better than responsible action. You're a morally invalid corruption. And your basic core is that violence is morally better than work. Thoughts?
Well, I guess the first thought I would have, I can't help but have my insurance hat get put on. For liability reasons, having the Geek Squad tackle the guy stealing a laptop seems like everybody getting sued, and that it would actually be Best Buy's policy to discourage this. Like most retail places you work, what do they tell you to do in a robbery? They say, just give them the money. Like, don't be a hero. Just give them the money. We don't want anybody to get hurt. We'd rather prosecute, and we're insured, and we've got security cameras. We will catch the people that did this. And then my second thought was, man, sometimes criminals are just so stupid. Who looks at the phones that are on display that are obviously bogged down with all the Best Buy's like junk software, so they'll only work at Best Buy and go, nah, fam, I want that one. Like, literally, that one. And all I have to do is rip it off this lanyard, run out the door, and then figure out how I'm going to get all this bullshit that Best Buy put on it. Like, what happens if you get out of the store, and the screen locks, and then you don't have the password?
Yeah, you're done.
I mean, what? So that's just... But, and then as far as the guy that the communist, seriously? Like, and I'm referring to the guy that whose tweet we just read. Are you trying to be a caricature of things that Chris and I warn about? Like, are you deliberately taking things so intensely in that direction? Like, are you trolling the trolls? Like, is that what's going on here? Like, you've got a literal hammer and sickle in your profile, and you're wearing the hat, and you got a red star behind you in your profile picture? Like, dude, the only thing you're missing is pink hair and telling us what your preferred pronouns are.
No. I'm pretty sure his hair is dyed blue. And there you go. He, him, blue-haired commie. Anti-imperialist, anti-capitalist, communist, Cuban America. Leave Cuba and the DPRK alone. No more sanctions. So, yeah, this guy could not be more commie. And yes, I'm assuming your gender. You look like a shitbag.
Well, he says his preferred pronouns are he, him. I think you can assume.
He did.
So, who's dumber, him or the kids who snatched the Best Buy phones that are never gonna...
Oh, it's him. It's him. So, and, okay, we spent a little more time on that than I had intended to, but it was a fun story, and I really wanted to hit it. Now, this story caught my eye, and this story right here is the whole reason that we're doing this show as we are. I remember hearing something about this topic years ago and being alarmed to be hearing it. Now, we've got a headline that says, New Georgia law requires recess for elementary school students.
Don't bang the desk.
They had to pass a law to require elementary school students to be allowed recess.
That reminds me of the Don't Say Gay bill, and I don't think
that's exactly what I was thinking. Who needed a law to tell you not to abuse children? See, law is, or should be, prohibitive, right? And in theory, we should only need to prohibit those things which people have an interest in doing, but should be discouraged from doing. Which is to say that it's abhorrent that we needed this law in Florida that they're calling the Don't Say Gay bill, the Parents Education Protection Act. It's abhorrent that we should need that law because people shouldn't need to be discouraged from sexually abusing children. It should be a thing that they just aren't interested in. The fact that we need the law, or that the law even came to be discussed, tells us that there is at least enough of a constituency among those who prefer to spend their time sexually abusing children, that it's an activity that is frequent enough as to need legal discouragement. Recess for children, having children go play outside, that's not a thing that should surprise anyone is a good and healthy thing for kids to do. Kids need to run and play. That's not hard. And as soon as I read this headline, I was just like pulled back in time. I was in Monterey, California with some of my Army buddies. We're walking down the street one day, and one of our guys, TK, is with us. TK is an avowed commie. Surprisingly a good guy for an avowed commie and a hell of a performance poet, but he's drifted further and further and further left, and we've fallen out of touch over the years. But back then, he was the lefty that we had in our little crew walking around that day. And we're walking down the street, and there's this couple pushing their kid in a baby carriage, and they're both just bitching about what a pain in the ass it is to have to push this carriage around, and how the kid's always obnoxious, and the kid's always loud, and the kid never this, and the kid always that, and TK turned around and screamed at these two people, "How hard is it to just love your goddamn kid?" Forgive my French here, but that always kind of struck a chord with me. It's like, that was very well put. How hard is it to just love your kid? It's hard work, right? Being married is hard work, right? You have to put in the work, and it's valuable work. It's good work. It's worthwhile. We're faced now with a left that vehemently disagrees with that. There's no room in them for love. There's only room in them for violence, promiscuity, debauchery, and the casual murder of children. Now, did you watch Polytech last night?
No, it was at work.
Or listen to it.
No, surprisingly busy, and I keep meaning to sign. Rumble's the one where and they're on Rumble.
Yep.
So theoretically, I could have listened to Polytech last night if I would.
But anyway, Alex was talking about some of the abortion stuff last night and brought up. I don't remember what the doctor's name was, but there was a doctor brought in front of Congress to talk about how an abortion happens, how it's done. Most explicitly, a second-term abortion, or as it's correctly said, a late-term abortion. And just to be clear, a late-term abortion is any abortion that occurs after conception. Disagree with me if you want. You're wrong. Abortion is murder, always and everywhere. Now, There is a distinction in the procedure, though. In the first several weeks, they'll just go up in there with a shop vac and suck the little monkey out. But once you get into the second term, the second trimester, the way it's done is they use a big pair of sharp serrated forceps, and they reach in and grab what they can. The procedure's done blind, so you don't know what you're grabbing. You just reach in and grab a piece and pull it out. And you got your little tray on the table, so you pull out a leg and you set it on the tray. And I left a comment while Alex was describing the procedure. I want you to remember that when they do that, the baby is not anesthetized. They don't kill the baby first. The baby is killed by the process of slow dismemberment, one limb at a time. The luckiest babies that are aborted, the luckiest aborted babies, are the ones where the blind, groping, violent weapon of the abortionist happens to catch them head first, instead of just pulling their arms and legs off before finding the brain casing to crush. That's what these people are. So at the same time that we've got the Dems arguing that they should have a constitutional right to slowly murder children in a procedure that is not entirely dissimilar to drawing and quartering a criminal as a method of torturous execution, we need a law that tells teachers kids should play outside. We have gone horribly, horribly off track. If we're arguing over whether or not we should be allowed to murder children slowly by dismemberment, at the same time that we're just not letting the kids play outside. So what I'm taking from this is that the standard operating procedure is that children are basically stuck in a room with some blue hair feminazi that wants them to mutilate themselves and left there all day without a recess, without going out and playing on a playground. That's a thing that's happening in Georgia. And you can bet that if it's happening in a state like Georgia, that it's happening in every other state at least, which has the blue cancer of a city like Atlanta. Thoughts?
I mean, like I was gonna say, this reminds me of the Don't Say Gay bill. Who needs to... It's just like... Who needed to be told? No. Wait until at least after 3rd grade before you have sex ed. Right? Who needed to be... And who needed to be told that so bad it became a law? Well, same thing here. Who needed to be told that recess is important? Like, we hear... Remember when we were kids, like, the whole thing with, play for at least 60 minutes a day and exercise, and, like, Arnold Schwarzenegger was, like, part of, like, multiple presidents' commissions for exercise. Like, never mind the steroids, but being active is so important, and yet for some reason this needs to happen. And I'll tell you what it is, okay? Just here's my guess, right? And I bet this guess is not too far off, even if some of the particulars are incorrect, okay? This is a public school problem. if your school is,
I think you mean public school is a problem.
well, that's true, right? No, but this is a public school problem specifically, okay? That yes, public school is a problem. But no, what I'm trying to say is that when you're underfunded and you don't have enough staff, like I guarantee you this problem doesn't happen at schools that have enough money and have enough staff, right? That can maintain grounds that are relatively safe and secure. Like I lived in Rockmart, Georgia for a while. I guarantee you, you don't need to tell them teachers that sending the kids outside for at least a few minutes a day is good for everybody, teachers included, right? However, if you're already dealing with a group of students who are extremely challenging and you don't necessarily have the safest area to take them outside to, and you're understaffed, you might make, just as a matter of like utilitarian pragmatism, okay, we're just not going to take the kids outside with any degree of regularity because the risk-reward matrix doesn't balance out. And how screwed up is your environment if your risk-reward matrix doesn't balance out for taking kids outside to play? That would be my guess. That is absolutely my guess about why this is necessary. So, law requires elementary school recess for students. Okay,
And
I'm with you. Well, hold on, I'm with you, but at the same time, like, without understanding why kids weren't having recess in the first place, like, you can pass a law that says you, I don't know, have to buy health insurance because it's a good idea to have health insurance, but that doesn't make it a good law, and that doesn't mean it's going to improve the overall state of the health insurance marketplace. And it just, a law like this could go either way. So, anyhow, you were
Dr. Metaverse, there you go. I'm going to give you a top comment because it's hilarious. Replace time outside with 45 minutes of Fortnite mobile. Problem solved. I especially like that he specified Fortnite mobile because, of course, all these kids have freaking iPhones now, right? I hate to do it, brother, but I'm going to have to go ahead and put a pin in it. I got to get out the door. I had a couple of more articles that I wanted to dig into about this, like Danish kids playing with knives. But we're going to have to go ahead and button this one up. Thanks for watching, guys. Love your kids. Don't mutilate them. Make them play outside. Not complicated. And Sergeant Major points out correctly, Common Core requirements eat up the time. It's not so much the Common Core requirements, Dad. It's it's kind of a misnomer, but it is an important distinction because what's really eating up the time is they're being taught to test. So instead of studying a subject, they're being taught to memorize by rote the correct answers to a list of useless trivia. I mean, I love history, I do, but guys, the dates and names of signatories is useless trivia for all but the most tweed-clad academia, right? So that's a big chunk of the problem right there. But again, got to get out the door. Love you guys, and we'll see you tomorrow.